This past week, over 30 plus WWE superstars were recently released. Now, what was very interesting was we knew that more releases were going to come, but WWE has been keeping it on the hush hush. So today we have a list of 10 WWE NXT superstars who were released. And yes, guys, unfortunately, there are more set to be announced. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button and ring the bell. This way you get notified on all the latest content on the channel. Stay updated with DPW. Get notified every time a new video drops. Make sure you click that subscribe button and ring the bell for more pro wrestling news.
You have arrived at your destination.
Guys, we have new merchandise in the description down below. New tank tops, phone cases, t-shirts. You guys want to support the channel, you guys want to rep the brand, I'm hooking you guys up with a 20% off discount code. All you got to do is put in code ANGO at the checkout. All right, guys, and don't forget Facebook group, DPW Plus. If you guys want to make like a one-time donation to the channel, if you guys want to contribute, all the links are in the description down below. So make sure you guys check that out. But with that being said, let's get into the list, 10 plus WWE superstars. And before I actually get to the names, just know that these NXT superstars have well, what's shocking to me is they're treating them very differently from the main roster. But they have a 30-day non-compete clause. So the main roster people have 90 days. NXT superstars have been confirmed to have a 30-day non-compete clause. And on top of that, they will be paid for the 30 days. I find this to be very interesting because during a pandemic, these people are really affected. They're really going to be impacted by this decision from WWE. But we also have to keep in mind, because of this decision by WWE, a lot of people aren't looking at WWE in a positive light right now. So hopefully everybody here could kind of find something, during this whole pandemic, because nobody knows what's going to happen with pro wrestling, at least. Tino Sabatelli. Tino Sabatelli is a 6-year veteran of NXT, a little bit up there in age, I think 34, 35. Tino Sabatelli, most known for his tag team run with Riddick Moss, especially being on the Dusty Rhodes Classic tournament. I think this is a very interesting release, not because Tino Sabatelli was big in NXT, but mostly because he was supposed to be big and it just never panned out. He was injury prone. There were rumors that he walked away from wrestling at one point. But with Tino Sabatelli, the biggest thing here that I thought was interesting was there was actually rumors that I saw floating online that WWE was actually getting ready to bring him back in the mix and actually utilize him on NXT. Now, what's really interesting is when you look at almost every single person on this list, nobody really has an indie background. So when you look at NXT, a lot of the people on NXT are former PWG, former ROH, former Impact guys. A lot of the people on this list aren't under that umbrella. So I thought that was very interesting. A lot of these people could have been made like WWE made, if that makes sense. Cesar Bononi. I don't know if he's actually 7 foot tall or not, but I think he's like 7 foot tall. They tested a Brazilian faction with him, Adrian Jaud, and Tainara Conti. Cesar Bononi, big guy. He's like one of those guys who could put down a nasty big boot. I'm not saying that WWE dropped the ball with him, but what I'm saying is WWE didn't give him an opportunity. I don't think anybody on this list was really given an opportunity except for maybe one person, and I think that person blew their opportunity personally. But this person, Cesar Bononi, should have been given a little bit more opportunities. Again, these people are incredibly underpaid. I can't put the pieces together, but I'm trying to figure out why it was super necessary to cut their contracts. I guess that's my thing. Let alone WWE's been very hush-hush about these releases, so it just doesn't piece together. Mars Wang and Tainara Conti were both released. Mars Wang, very, very, very little exposure to Mars Wang, but a lot of people were saying that Mars Wang was signed because of the international focus that WWE has made, and then of course with translation that seems to play a role for WWE. So WWE is known to sign superstars from other parts of the world in which they can use them for translation. This way they don't have to pay more money for a translator. Whether that's true or not here, I don't know, but that's one of the biggest things that's been said about this release. I thought that was interesting. Tainara Conti is somebody I think she's had chances to be on TV. She never really showed she could hang with the best. And that is the thing about NXT. The women's roster is so stacked on NXT. Tainara Conti being released it's a very tough thing for WWE, because at the same time, this is somebody who allegedly didn't even want to be in WWE anymore. Somebody who was rumored to have her locker room cleared out because she walked away from WWE because she wanted more money. This is the type of person that realistically, based on all those reports, it almost sounded like she wanted more but wasn't really doing much. WWE put her on TV and some of those matches were bad. So Taynara Conti, good looks could only get you so far. I think out of everybody on this list, she could go elsewhere and continue to develop. So despite her not having a strong career in NXT, I do think there is a chance that she could develop, and I think she could flourish on the indie scene. When the indie scene opens back up, whether it's next year or the year after or whatever it may be, nobody really knows at this point. I think Taynara Conti is somebody who could do a good job on the indie scene because she can develop. I think she was given some chances, but she wasn't really given the focus, and that's a huge thing. Like, you could give people chances to be on TV, but if you're not giving them a focus to really show what they could do, you're not giving them any significant things to play with, I mean, it's going to fall flat. Nick Camaroto, Alyssa Marino, Dan Matha. So if you guys didn't know, Alyssa Marino is a fairly new employee to WWE, backstage announcer, social media person. I actually thought she was I thought that was a really good signing. I'm not sure. I mean, I know NXT had released Josiah Williams. That was something that we talked about recently. Alyssa Marino goes by Cat Marino. So especially when you look at NXT live events and stuff like that, she's actually one of the people that most people were becoming familiar with because of her personality. So again, it doesn't make sense in my opinion. She could have been a good asset. Dan Matha was actually very shocking to me, only because it's always been said WWE was pretty high on him. But I think when you look at a guy like Dan Matha and then you see WWE give him the name Dorian Mack, it almost makes you think WWE just doesn't know what they're doing sometimes. And again, a lot of these people don't come from that same background as a lot of the bigger names in NXT. So it's very easy to get lost in the shuffle. And I think that's exactly what we've seen from people on this list. One of the most surprising names, and I think this is going to be the one that really, really hurts WWE. And when you look back on this moment, it's MJ Jenkins. MJ Jenkins is a huge standout from the Performance Center, was slated to do big things on NXT. WWE has made that cut. I think MJ Jenkins will be on AEW at some point in the very, very near future. I know it sounds crazy, guys, but the women's roster on AEW is just not that good, and there's not a lot of free agents in the women's division that are big names. So with AEW, I would say expect MJ Jenkins to go to AEW. The only thing is, you're probably going to have to do a new name. You're probably going to have to do something cool and maybe develop a better character. But when it comes to actual main roster success, I thought MJ Jenkins could have been it. And WWE just didn't see it. So again, they've made some really weird cuts. I know I'm not a recruiter for WWE, but even though I don't work talent relations, I think people know when you see the work of some of these people I'm talking about, you could have done something better. Not everybody has to be a world champion, but you guys get the point. John Questo, another announcer, another commentator. We've seen him do some commentary for WWE across many of their brands. WWE has decided to let him go as well. This is just one of those situations where you're good, you're not bad at what your job is, but you have to be cut because you're lost in the shuffle based on the group of people you're surrounded with. The Tom Phillips, the Corey Graves, the Michael Coles, you have Nigel McGuinness. You have quite a few commentators in WWE. This is just one of those guys. He's not gonna be able to be better than them or stand out over those names. So that's another thing. And then, of course, Alexander Jakic. So he was somebody who was yet to make his WWE debut, but this guy was somebody who could have been something really sick. A lot of people compare him to Seth Rollins and Jay White from New Japan. So I thought that was a very, very interesting thing. When I saw those comparisons, it was very interesting. A lot of people were talking very highly of him, especially at the NXT live events. So WWE just didn't do anything with any of these people. They've been very quiet about these releases. And ultimately, guys, that's just kind of the situation that we're in. WWE is going to continue to release people. It's not going to make a lot of sense. It's going to suck, but that's just the way it is. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section. Don't forget, we have some new merchandise. So again, 20% off if you use the code ANGO. It is going to be very appreciated if you guys buy some merchandise. And if anybody does buy some merchandise and you guys choose to take a photo, I'll put you guys on the channel as well. Don't forget, if you guys want to join DPW Plus, it's $1 a month or $5 a month. Two choices for you. You guys could have your name right here. Yep. You guys see what I'm talking about. So if you guys check that out, DPW Plus gives you perks, championships. You get a whole bunch of emojis and stuff in the chat. And we're going to be starting some live streams on the channel too. So more news on that soon. All right, guys, it's your boy Ango, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Peace. Get notified every time a new video drops. Make sure you click that subscribe button and ring the bell for more pro wrestling news.